Hello everyone, my name is Henry Johnson, and welcome to the Faster Projects channel. Now all of my previous videos have focused on efficiency, but with the new Covid-19 era of stay-at-home orders and social distancing, we need to think about the new role team leaders are facing. The business and social circles that were typically physically separated have now merged. Leaders must now be ambidextrous by managing both the business and social aspects of their teams. So here are some 30 tips to be that ambidextrous leader. First of all, accept your new role as the ambidextrous leader, supporting work and social circles. Both of them have been severely disrupted and driven together. As the leader, you need to help establish the new normal that includes equal priorities given to both work and personal life. Embrace, support, and celebrate the new normal. Yes, we are living in a new world, but let's not let it define us. We can and will overcome this. As a leader, you need to foster a positive environment by embracing the changes, not complaining about them, supporting your team members as they adjust to the changes, and yes, celebrate the good things that are happening, like spending time with your family, connecting with friends, and supporting our communities. You need to provide energy and be positive. Do not bring up the negative events happening in the world around us. We get that from so many other sources. Now, if a team member brings up something that is negative, be patient, but slowly guide them to a different direction and refocus. Focusing on the negative only elevates stress, and that leads to lowering our immune system. And that's something we really are trying. That's part of the new role here. We need to make sure we're always conscious of that and lowering stress. Now, you need to be empathetic and considerate of what is happening in your team's lives. They're dealing with new technology. Kids at home. Now they need to homeschool and worry about if they're going to get sick themselves. So just acknowledge that and be empathetic to that. Group meetings. What I mean by this is a group the meetings together, the team meetings, rather than having spread out during the day. Put them in one block of the day. Now, maybe the best time of day to hold them is in the morning, when people have more energy. But depending on your team needs, it may be another time of day. I find grouping is more effective and more efficient than spreading them out during the day, because you spread them out, people are always, dealing with the last meeting you had, getting ready for the next meeting, and it seems like get nothing done. And truly, they get nothing done that day. So putting a block, keep it simple. Also, keep meetings short. Now, this will avoid online fatigue, Zoom fatigue, whatever you want to call it. The online meetings can actually be very draining to people's energy. So brief daily meetings with the same agenda is a great idea. Basically, you want to be reviewing what was accomplished yesterday, what they will need to do today, and any roadblocks in your way. And each of the team members need to be doing this themselves and presenting that. Now, having the same agenda is not only more efficient for you, but for the team as well. They know what to expect. There's less stress and anxiety about that uncertainty. What are we going to be talking about today? What do I need to present today? Okay. Also, the fact that they're actually presenting helps them keep engaged through the meeting. So many times we find ourselves in a meeting where it's an online meeting and you're not participating in, you're just working on something else. You're not really engaged in the meeting. And we need that engagement because that's kind of bringing back the social isolation that we're experiencing now is kind of bridging that gap. And so that's why it's so important. The other thing too is limit the number of meetings. Limiting the number of meetings, obviously it gives people more time to balance the work and personal lives now, all the things that are going on. Remember, people may have kids at home or family members to be cared for. Allow people to join the meeting early. There's a lot of on Zoom, that's a facet. It's something you can set up. People can join the meeting early. And this gives people time to talk about things informally, to share information, just to say hi and catch up with each other. Again, you're kind of bringing back these connections that we've lost when everybody's staying at home. When you finish the meetings, conduct a roundtable. Now, you may be doing this already, but we want everyone to have an opportunity to bring up something that was either not discussed or something they thought of during the meeting. Again, it's that participation connecting with other people. This is really important at this time. Now, if you can, record the meeting if possible. There's several good reasons for doing this. Sometimes people don't remember exactly what was said in the meeting, so they can go back and see what somebody actually said. There's other situations where people are unable to attend, or they find themselves joining late, so they can see what was said ahead of time. Now, if somebody is unable to attend or joins late, do not blame them, do chastise them. Do not point that out. It's fine. You don't know what's happening in their personal lives that could have caused that. It's not being disrespectful. They're not being disrespectful to you, so don't take it that way. Now, online meetings sometimes can become really monotone. You get people joining on. So recognize this and create content that is clear and concise. Stay on track. Encourage working meetings with 2 or 3 people. You have maybe a larger meeting, but you need these other working meetings where 2 or 3 people are working together. They're solving some problems. They're like mini work sessions or workshops or whatever you want to call them. Now, this is very important because they're now getting the social interactions that they desperately need, and they're getting work done and sharing, and they're still building that team relationship. Now, if during a meeting you find you need more time with an individual, do not extend the meeting. Set up a one-on-one meeting to meet with them later on. This way, the rest of the team can get on with what they need to do that day. Practice new technology with the team. A lot of times you have people that are, not used to doing something. They're a little hesitant. They're not sure. You can do this one-on-one. You can do it with the whole team if there's something everybody needs to know how to do. The last thing you want to do is somebody fumbling in front of the rest of the team members or a group of people they're not familiar with, and it embarrasses and it raises their stress. And again, you don't want to do that. So think about this. Provide opportunities. Say, hey guys, if anybody wants to test something else, or hey, you could model this yourself by, hey, I want to test out my microphone and how everything works with somebody. Can I have a quick meeting ahead of time with you guys, and 1 or 2 of you, or just maybe one of you, and see how make sure I've got everything working right. And so I think that's a great idea, and that way people can also try out and get experience with using technology. We're not fumbling in front of everybody. So things like, when you're doing things, just don't talk about it. When I mean it, take the lead and model how to be supportive, how to embrace the change, showing you're embracing the change and celebrating the positive things. Bring those things up yourself. By doing this, you're also giving permission to the team to be doing this as well, because they're seeing you are modeling that. So it's important. Now, you need to be constantly aware of situations that increase stress and anxiety. As a leader, you need to be lowering stress. Anytime something changes, that always creates stress. New software, we have a new agenda today, we have new team members, whatever thing, something new that's happening always seems to be a great source of stress. So make sure that you're always cognizant of it and how you're going to deal with it, and make sure you're always lowering your people's stress. Now, do not force people to choose between work and family, because now work and family is in the same physical location, and that's part of your new role as the ambidextrous leader. And you don't want them to be stressed out that they're not getting work done or they're not attending to the family. These both now have equal priorities, and you need to support that. Now, if it appears that someone is doing something in your team that you didn't expect them to do, or is not what you want them to do, don't point it out and blame them for that. If it's in the middle of a meeting, be very respectful how you approach that. Maybe say, hey, can we have a meeting off to the side or after this meeting? Because the last thing you want to do is embarrass somebody or make them feel like they did something wrong in front of everybody else. That's the worst thing. It just elevates everybody's stress. So, one of the things when you're working with this, I find, is that I see them doing something I didn't expect them to do. I just say, look, sorry, Joe, I made a mistake. I was not clear in what I sent to you, and I apologize for that. Now, it may be that they recognize, no, I messed up and I didn't really understand what you were doing, Henry. So that's fine. But at least now you have this relationship where you're taking this barrier, potentially you could have this conflict grow really quickly. And there's friction between you and another team member. You don't want that. This creates a lot of stress and anxiety. So by you saying, I'm taking the blame for this, you immediately lower that barrier and it's gone and it evaporates very quickly, and then you move on. Sometimes you're going to encounter some social issues that people are having at home with their family, relatives, and things like that are really way beyond your limits. So just recognize that. And many people in the companies now have employee assistance agencies of some sort that you can refer them to. And you really want to give them professional help when they're dealing with some of these things. So just be cognizant of where your limits are and what you can and cannot do yourself. I need you to think long term. We're all hoping that it's going to be over in a couple of days, but that was like several weeks ago right now. So it may last a lot longer than we think. If you're putting things off, doing, I was only got a couple of days, it's going to be maybe 2 weeks, so I'm not going to do this, Don't put them off. Some simple things like, buying a new webcam or a new software or a microphone or getting that second screen so things are easier to do. These are all things going to help organize yourself now. By organizing those things and doing that kind of thing, you're lowering your stress. You're more efficient in what you're doing. That will help lower the stress as well. So this is why it's so important to do that. As a team leader, you can plan social events for the team. We see many people now doing things online, such as happy hours. And maybe that's not the thing for your team. There's other things people are doing, online games and even bingo and other things that try to find look for some things that online other people are doing, and maybe the team can help give you some ideas. But what do they want to do? What is something that they feel that could be fun for them to do? Again, you're keeping those connections, those personal connections going between your team members, and that's really important. It helps lower their stress, helps them maintain the feeling that they're still part of something here. Now, one of the things I encourage people to do, and I have always done this myself, is making daily to-do lists. There's a couple of reasons for doing this. But the twist now is that those lists need to have both the professional items and personal items on there, and they have to be given equal weight. Before, I would just maybe put a couple personal items in there. We didn't want anybody to see that because it's supposed to be working all day, but now it's all together. You really need to have both, and they need to have equal priority. Again, you don't want to be having people decide between the work and their personal life, because they're all one and the same now. I also find that when you have a checklist like this, when you're going through, it's okay, I've got this done, I've got that done. It has this positive feedback. Again, that's helping people feel good about themselves and what they're getting done. You need to help keep the team focused on what they can control. There's so many things going on now that are unexpected and we can't control. So one of my suggestions here is that plan for the unexpected, by saying, hey, this could happen, but what's going to be our plan? How are we going to respond to this? And that alone, that planning session, that coming up with a response, helps lower the anxiety just by doing that. So these can be sometimes very simple plans, but still they can be effective. Set up communication protocols in advance. How are you going to be contacting people? For example, people may like to be contacted by a text message versus a phone call or email, because nowadays we're getting so much junk in our emails and our phones that maybe we would pay attention to the text. And so recognize that. How do people want to be contacted with something that is an urgent message? I need to take action now. How are you going to be communicating that with people? And if it's not urgent, how do you want to be communicated with when it's not urgent as well? So this is important. One of the other aspects of this is that people need to have this sense of they get a message, whether it's a text or email, whatever. They need to respond to that to say, hey, I'll get back to you in 5 minutes. I'll get back to you, an hour from now or something like that. And if something that they, hey, it's going to be a long time before I get back to you, like I can't get this done, put in your message there, hey, I need to have this done by this time and this date. And if they can't do that, you need to have the protocol set up so they get back to you, say, hey, I can do it, but I can't get it done by the end of today. Can you have it first thing tomorrow morning? Can you have it in mid-morning tomorrow? Something like that where, they're allowed to get back to you and feel confident that, hey, can you suggest another time? It's important that, because you could be sitting there, sending something out, wondering if anybody got it. I didn't know if anybody responded to it. You're expecting to see it tomorrow at the end of the day and it doesn't show up. Now you have all this anxiety you have, and now you're contacting them and you're transferring this anxiety over to them now. So don't do that. Say, hey, I need you to do this by this time, and it could be that today or tomorrow, whatever it is. So, and have people expected to respond to you. Great things to do. Now, periodically check for your voicemail on your phone. Is it full? I had this mistake. I'm now using my personal phone more than ever, and it was full. I wasn't in the routine of checking it, and somebody was trying to leave a message, and they were very frustrated because they couldn't. So now you need to be taking a close look at that periodically, maybe it's every day, whatever. Make sure your phone message in your voicemail has, it's not full, so people can leave you a message if they need to. Also, remember to take care of yourself and encourage team members to do the same. Engage in activities that reduce stress, like the exercise, connecting with family and friends in their community. Even for me, I've started to do. Was going to the gym. Obviously, you can't do that anymore. So I'm exercising outside. I'm running more because I like to do that, and I feel it relaxing. It sounds strange, but I do find it relaxing to run long distances. So I'm doing that more. You can learn something new or get better at something you always wanted to do. This doesn't have to be work related, and really, maybe it's better that it's not work related. I sometimes find gaining experience with something new can be personally rewarding and often expands your mind to deal with difficult situations and helps you become a bit more innovative. So encourage that. Practice acts of kindness. Ask your neighbor, is there something or anything you can do to help them, something they need? Helping someone always has this real positive feedback. Thanking each other does as well. Wishing people well when you're putting your messages. I like to nowadays, when I start off my email, I'm sending something to somebody, a message, and my first line is, how are you and your family doing? I hope that you're doing well. And I want that personal message in there, and then I go in and talk about the things that I need from them. So you're making that direct connection. I think that's part of this act of kindness. Think about it, be conscious about it, and practice this every day. Also, lower or change your expectations, for yourself and the team. We were coming from a situation where we had everything working well. We were maybe working in our business, and maybe we had a hybrid team and remote people locally all working. We had it all figured out, how to work the technology, how we could do things together. It's all been disruptive now. And setting yourself up to the same expectations is the same as setting yourselves up for failure and increasing stress and anxiety. So don't do that. Be really cognizant and be realistic about how things are changing. Encourage people to reach out for help. One of the things in teams is sometimes people feel that, they've got to do everything themselves, and they see it as a weakness if they tell somebody that I can't get this done, I'm having trouble, I'm having difficulty. Things are different now. You don't know why they're having difficulty. It could be a lot of things going on in their personal life that you just don't know about. And they may not be, willing to share that with you. So don't assume the worst. Assume that, they're really tried and they want to do this, but you want to encourage people. And you need to model this as well, that expect them to reach out. Don't wait till the last minute to say, hey, I can't finish this. We are a team. We're going to be graded as a team. We're going to be rewarded as a team. And as a team, we need to be helping each other. And we can't do that if you don't tell us that you need help. Maybe if they feel uncomfortable confiding in you, maybe there's another team member they can confide in. But eventually it's going to get out to everybody. So you need to make sure that, you're setting the expectation as the leader that, look, this is okay. And actually, I'm expecting you to do this, because we're going to find some difficult things. It's harder to do things. It could be for a variety of reasons. Our productivity is lower than it was before. So we need to be working together. So just a quick wrap up, remember, be supportive, do not blame. Recognize personal life is just as important as work life. Model the acceptance and celebrate the small things. Be there for your team, both professionally and personally. Embrace your new role as the ambidextrous leader. And above all, be kind to each other. Again, thank you so much. for joining me for today's video on how to deal with leading teams in the COVID-19 era.